Hey guys, it's your girl Abby and I'm back with another video. As you can probably already tell by the title of this video, we are going to be talking about 5 habits that can help you regain your focus. These are things that I have been implementing in my daily routine and my life over the past couple years. I have found super helpful, and so I want to share them because I think that we can all benefit from one or a few of these small habits. So let's get into this video and let's talk about focus. Now, have you ever been on TikTok or Instagram and just found yourself in a mindless scrolling funk where you're just going from either app to app or spending hours on your phone, spending hours in front of a screen, and realize that your mind is jumbled. You can't necessarily think clear. You are tired for no reason. You've just been sitting down, haven't really done anything, but it's like you ran a marathon. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about focus. Focus is when your attention is sharp. Focus is when your ideas are clear, where you're able to execute a plan, make a plan and execute it, right? That is what focus is for me. Very first thing that I have implemented is not sleeping with my phone in my room. Now, I know this sounds super dramatic for some people, but I have noticed that when I leave my phone in a different room for the night, I am not waking up and going on my phone first thing in the morning. Also at night, I'm not falling asleep to TikTok or Instagram or to whatever happened that day, to whatever is on social media. My mind is able to have a wind down before my sleep, and it's also able to have a wind up when I wake up, right? The thing about our cell phones is that they're so easily accessible. We can take them and bring them anywhere. We can listen to such a wide variety of content, right? And I think the thing that we don't recognize is that the things we listen to and watch have an effect on our health, right? When I talk about health, I talk about it in a holistic way as mind, body, and soul. And so the content that we're consuming can affect our mind and it can affect our spirit. Sometimes it can even affect our physical when our mind and our body are out of balance. And so for me, when it comes to the start of my day and when it comes to the end of my day, when I'm going into sleep, when I'm going into dream state, right? I don't want those moments to be filled with anything other than, the pure bliss of the moment, the pure authenticity of the moment. I don't want someone's podcast in my mind when I wake up. And so leaving my phone in a separate room before I go to sleep forces me to not scroll before bed and not scroll first thing in the morning. The second thing that I have been doing to help regain focus is sleeping at a decent time. Now, whatever that time is, you've got to come up with it yourself. For me, it's 10:30 p.m. I go to sleep at 10:30 p.m. because I find that when I do so, I'm able to naturally wake up around 6 a.m. And so for me, around 6, 7 a.m. is a good time. The sun just came up. It's still early enough to, get my day started without being rushed and feeling, bombarded with things that I have to do. I can wind down and I can ease into my day. What I find super helpful is when you go to sleep early, I'm not a fan of setting alarms in the morning. I'm not a fan of waking up to screaming and shouting, right? Your alarm is just screaming at you to wake up. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like it. I feel like it interrupts me. I feel like it wakes me up in a way that is not soothing. It doesn't make me feel good. So I try and sleep at an earlier time so that I naturally wake up earlier as well. So whatever it is that your body works well with, maybe you need to train your body first with an alarm so that you can train yourself to wake up early if you haven't been doing so for years before. But yeah, sleeping early so that you naturally wake up early for me is what's super helpful because you train your body to get into a natural rhythm, right? Rather than forcing yourself to wake up. It feels like a drag. It feels like you're like a zombie. When you naturally sleep earlier, you'll naturally wake up earlier and you'll feel a sort of ease when you start your day. Third, mindful content. Now, like I mentioned before, the effect of content, the effect of the things we listen to, the things we see, the things we interact with. Over the past couple years, I have been very intentional with the type of content that I consume. Now, this is for me personally, and I'm not saying that you need to subscribe to this. You have to ask yourself what sits right with you, what doesn't sit right with you. For me, I do not allow myself to, for the most part, I don't allow myself to watch drama. Like, no reality TV, no drama TV, none of those Netflix shows of like Too Hot to Handle, blind love making, matchmaking shows, whatever it is. I don't allow myself to watch any of that because, one, now this might sound a little bit dramatic for some people, and so I say this is a very personal thing that you've got to find out for yourself. But I find that these shows don't necessarily promote anything other than entertainment. And what I mean by that is, okay, by the end of watching this 1 hour show, what have I left with? Maybe it's a relief. Maybe it's a wind down that you need. I don't know. For me personally, I left it feeling just empty. Like, I didn't learn anything. I didn't get my mind stimulated in a way that made me want to do better, or, you know, double down on my goals, or double down on anything that I need to focus on. All I did was feel like all I did was really numb me, you know? And I think that numbing can have an after effect on us. So in the moment, like, yes, sometimes we come home from like a long day of work and we need that numbing to just like sit and relax, right? That is very valid. But how does that numbing affect the after, right? How does that numbing affect after you've had that wind down? So an hour later, you're feeling relaxed. You feel like you can, you know, you've just rested just enough. Now, what did that content put in your mind or in your body and your spirit, your soul, that is beneficial? A lot of times these shows promote ideas and promote just ways of life and lifestyles that don't align with my beliefs. And so when I watch these things, it's like, okay, well, now I feel, you know, more out of alignment. Now I feel like I just had a junk food meal. Like, I feel like I just went to McDonald's and now I'm like, I shouldn't have ate that. You know, like, it was good in the moment, but now I'm like, I should have had like maybe something nutritious, like maybe a steak or like a salad or like something healthy. I didn't have to have that McDonald's. And, you know, I really needed to rest. I really needed to wind down. I was really hungry. I just needed some food. But now that I've got it, I'm like, did I really need that? That's how I feel with content, with, you know, mindless content. And so the habit that has helped me gain focus is being mindful with the content that I watch. And so if I need to have a wind down, if I need to just take a break, maybe I'll put on National Geographic. Like on Netflix, they have like nature shows. I'm kind of weird, so I don't know if this resonates with you, but I like learning about animals and nature and stuff like that. And so that is enough to get me to wind down. Maybe for you, you're into, I don't know, whatever topic. I'm also into like philosophy and things. So if I watch like a 10-minute lecture about a philosophy, that makes me relax, that makes me feel calm, that makes me like, it's something that I'm interested in. And sometimes you can just kind of like tune it out. You don't have to fully listen to it, but I know that it's something that I'm interested in. I know that the food that my body is being fed is nutritious. Even though I might not be paying attention to it, I know that what's coming in me, what's going in me is nutritious. Okay, now the fourth thing also relates to the third thing. It's called mindful downtime. Now, mindful downtime is pretty much the same idea of what I'm talking about, right? When you have downtime, what are you doing with it? How does it feed your mind? How does it feed your soul? How does it feed your body, right? Is it leaving you feeling more tired than you were before? Or is it energizing you? Is it doing what it's supposed to do? Is it actually relaxing you? Is it actually giving you a wind down? For me, I noticed a lot of times I would just sit around and do nothing. I would just sit around on my phone and waste time. And after that, I would feel even worse than I did in the beginning. And so for me, a habit that I've made is that, okay, if I have a couple hours of downtime, let me pick out my my iPad and start sketching, right? Some of you guys might not be into sketching. That's fine. Maybe for me, another example is video editing. Like literally me having a YouTube channel, literally me posting on Instagram and TikTok. That is a form of me using my downtime. Instead of me doing nothing, let me pour into something that I am passionate about, right? Let me work towards something that I'm passionate about. And making content, making videos, for me, this is my personal example, making these things don't always require a certain level of focus and attention and hard work, right? Some people might view making content or being on social media as this like strenuous hard job, but when you create from a place of, you know, a true place of creating where it's just like, I'm just having fun with it. I'm just doing this on my downtime. I'm just doing it because I like it, right? That's where, you know, things start to move. And for me, that's what has happened, right? Making content, editing videos, that kind of thing is fun for me. And so on my downtime, I do that. Now, that might not look the same for you. You've got to find what it is that is fun for you to do on your downtime. Maybe it's reading. My sister is like a super big reader, and so she's always reading books, and she finds joy from that. I personally, not the biggest reader. I read, but I'm, you know, if I have downtime and I pull out a book, that's probably going to make me even more bored and even more frustrated. So it's like everyone has their own thing that they find enjoyable. And so it's finding what that is and pouring into that, right? And I will say this just to add, sometimes finding new habits and finding new hobbies are going to take a bit of effort at first. It is going to feel like a job at first to not just sit down and do nothing and instead pour into a hobby like painting, reading, video editing, I don't know, designing something, I don't know, whatever it is that your hobby is. It's going to feel like work at first because your body is not used to doing it. And so just like when you start going to the gym and you start lifting weights, your muscles are so sore the first day, right? But as you continue to do it, as you build a routine of going to the gym, that same amount of reps, like maybe you did 20 reps and the first day your muscles were like aching. You're going to do 40 reps next week, and your muscles are not even going to ache because you've trained your body, right? You've trained your body to get in that routine, and it's not so painful anymore. It's not so strenuous anymore. And so the same thing happens with your hobbies and your habits, right? At first, it's going to suck. At first, it's going to be painful, but the more you do it, the more it comes with ease, right? And so it really is like a personal decision of like, okay, like, what do you want? Do you want your focus, and do you want to pour into yourself, or do you just want to continue doing what you're doing? And I'm not saying that what you're doing is bad. That is a decision that you have to make for yourself. I noticed for myself the things that I was doing and the habits that I had were not productive and were actually pulling away at who I was. And so I had to make a change. I had to use my time more wisely. I had to take control of my mind and my focus. And the results are I'm a happier person. The results are I am more myself. The results are I'm more productive. And I don't have this guilt with wasting time. I don't have this guilt with like this overall guilt. I'm more content, right? And so don't take what I'm saying as a prescription for your life. Take a look at your life and make that prescription for yourself based on who you are and where you're trying to go. Now, the last thing that I want to mention is physical exercise. We all know that physical exercise is not just about the physical, it's also connected to our mental health. And so physical exercise is a great way to gain your focus. Challenging yourself physically is also challenging yourself mentally. I used to run cross country. I love long distance running, and the reason why I love long distance running is because as much as it is a physical exercise, it's a mindful exercise. It's about training your body to breathe at a rate and rhythm where you can sustain long distances. It's about getting in a rhythm where you forget that you're running, right? Where you kind of dissociate with your physical feeling, right? There's this thing called runner's high, and I don't know if there's any runners that are watching this, but if you have ever experienced runner's high, it's where you push your body to a limit where you can no longer even feel like the muscle aches because there's so many endorphins that are being released. Now, this doesn't happen every time you go on a run. It's something that I think you have to like build up to, but I remember the first time I experienced runner's high and I was like, oh, this is why I love running, right? You don't have to experience the runner's high to love running, but when I did, I was like, oh, this is why I love running, because it is totally a dissociation from reality sometimes. If you really focus on your jog, if you really focus on your walk, right, you are totally immersed in the present moment. And so whatever stresses that you have, whatever worries that you have, whatever fears, whatever challenges that are in your life kind of go in the background, and all you're worried about is your breath, right? All you're worrying about is putting that next foot in front of the other. All you're worried about is getting to the destination that you had set out, right? Challenging and pushing your body. And so physical exercise does have a connection to our mind, and it's a great way to get out of the mind and get into the body. Sometimes we need to dissociate, but we need to make sure that we're dissociating in a way that is healthy, in a way that is productive for our mind, body, and spirit, right? And so physical exercise, it doesn't have to be running, it doesn't have to be some crazy sport. It can just be going on a 30-minute walk. It can just be doing home workouts, whatever it is that your body is able to keep up with, start to do it. And then eventually start to push yourself further and further. And the same experience will come from it, right? You just got to work at your pace and what works well for your body, and the effects you'll have the same effects is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, those are my 5 things that I have found, my 5 habits that I have found have helped me regain my focus. Now, in the comments below, I would love for you guys to share if you can relate to any of these 5 habits. If you have any other habits that you have adopted or broke that helps you regain your focus, I definitely like to hear your experiences. So definitely share your comments below. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys for watching. That is it for this video. Thank you so much, and I will see you in another one. Peace and love until next time.